All right, guys, back up on the roof again today. My house is actually right there. If you guys can see it, that's that motel that's right in front of my house. My house is right there. But yeah, so I'm right next to home, man. Thankfully, it makes, it takes a lot of stress off just being able to come right there to here. And if I forget something, because I get really forgetful, I've really got to be on my P's and Q's during these times. And but if I do forget something, I can just run right over there and grab it instead of having to go to Lowe's or Home Depot or somewhere and have to pay another $50 for a fucking tool that I'm only going to use once. You know what I mean? But yeah, I'm just up here, man. I'm just thinking about how. Well, I was actually sitting here because the traffic got stopped up here a few minutes ago, and people were just sitting, and I'm looking, every time I look at people in traffic, I always look to see how many people are on their phones, and I've actually noticed, there are an extraordinary amount of people constantly on their phones. You look around, it's like everybody's got their face shoved in their phones, but it's surprisingly not as much when I look at people in traffic sometimes, because you can tell when someone's looking at their phone sitting in traffic or not. And so anyways, it just got me thinking, people think that there's other groups out there that have the answer. There's other people out there that have the answer. There's other people that are doing things a certain way, and that's the way we should all be doing it, because people just make it look easy. You know what I mean? Like they have no problems. They're perfectly healthy. They're bubbly. All of their what is it called? All of their social media, they update their social media. They got everything they need. They never have any complaints. They're always pretty. They're always perfect. You know what I mean? And it just puts that false sense of there's people out there that got this figured out, and I'm just the only one that hasn't gotten it figured out yet, And it's just not like that, guys. I was up here and I'm working, and I'm just like, I'm just thinking, because I've pulled myself out. You work this kind of work, and you have kids, and you're just waiting for them to grow up, get older, and that way you can enjoy them and they can enjoy you as adults, right? And you guys are just very close and everything. But it's not like that. This is what I'm trying to say. I'm getting to a point here. Okay, so this right here is a beauty salon, right? And spa. Look at that old fat lady walking in there. What's she doing? Going to feel better? Racked. Look at her hobbling. Oh, gotta grab the rail. Oh. And she's probably not older than 55, man. And this is what I'm trying to say. Everybody you see out there that's bubbly and has the money, and their husband's got a great job, and their kids are all-star students, and everybody just looks so happy and perfect and pretty, and it's not like that, man. It's not like that anywhere, nowhere. Nobody's like that. It's all a false sense. It's like this. It's like putting your goddamn makeup on and putting a false sense of yourself out there. We've ruined our fucking women. We have turned our women into nothing but Jezebels, in America. And I'm sure this is a worldwide issue, but especially in America, I can see it everywhere around me. We've turned our women into Jezebels. They think that men are chauvinist pigs, and that all they want is pussy, and then the guys think that women are just going to cheat on them anyways, and are just a bunch of whores and hoes and sluts and worthless, and they need to cook for them because they fucking don't do anything else because they're lazy as fuck. They need to have food on the table, and they need to fuck them when they get home and make them happy. You know what I mean? So we've relegated the two types of people, humans in this world, we have male and female, right? We've relegated the females to being just an open, wet hole that provides, warm, fuzzy feelings when we need it and comfort. And then we've relegated the men to never complain or speak the truth because the truth would be that we're hurting. Every day we go to work, we hurt. And we're just covering up pain day after day after day, year after year after year. And we basically slave away to be able to provide for these basically useless eaters. Our children and our wives, if they're not working, if they're not providing, if they're just bitching, complaining, whining, moaning, wanting more, pushing us, and this goes for women too. I mean, women nowadays, a lot of women are the ones providing, So, this goes out of the way. For me, it was the man part. But, you just think of what they've relegated all us to. And then in our heads, like we just have it programmed into our minds that, this is the woman, this is what she does, this is the man, this is what he does. And then it puts that onus on you, like, okay, she's taking over 50% of it, so don't you fucking complain about your job, because then otherwise she's going to start bitching about her shit, and then everybody's just going to be complaining. Just suck it up, do what you got to do, and move on, right? And that's the problem. That's the problem. We have a whole bunch of people just sucking it up, putting makeup on, so that way, because they can't hide it other ways, because without the makeup, you'd see all the lines, all the stress, all the worry, all the poisons, all the parasites, and everything else that we're dealing with. But instead of allowing anybody to talk about it, we force our women to feel like they have to pay $100 to go get their nails and their fucking hair done, right? In order to be even worthy of our cocks in them. And then, and like a compliment. And then, these dudes are out there just killing themselves, literally killing themselves, and forcing themselves to do humane labor and work senseless, pointless jobs their whole life. And we're just wondering, like, why we're so confused. It's so fucking obvious, man. There's nothing that makes sense when you look around. Nothing. Zero. I mean, all is confusing on purpose just to get us running in circles and then doubting ourselves. The whole shame and guilt that's placed on each one of us individually, and not being worthy enough, and not having, you can't talk about this because you don't have a degree in that. You can't talk about, you have no right to say anything about this because you've never gone to schooling for that. You can't talk about that because you don't have a plaque on the wall that says you're certified, and it's just that it's all a mental game, I guess, is what I'm getting to. It's all just a mental game, and we're just keeping ourselves imprisoned in it as long as we keep on playing by these rules and thinking of this revolution, thinking of this reset as anything being like it is now. It's not going to happen, guys. You're so wrong, and please understand, you're in the reset now, and every day you are making multiple decisions every fucking day that are putting you on either side of which side you're going to come out in the next year or two on this reset. And it's as simple as that. This is a choice. This has been a choice our whole lives. But this matrix, this is so weird how this fucking thing operates, how it has to give us, the clues, how it has to put the truth out there, and then but it's also allowed to just mock it and then skew it in so many different ways to try to confuse us, because it's like it knows that we know when we hear the truth, because it resonates deeply. It's just it also knows that we're so programmed that it can very easily get us to sway outside of the truth and follow its manipulations, as long as we just keep staying busy and finding pleasure in the breads and circuses that it provides. Again, this all comes back to who is taking care of their family. Who is your family? Who are you putting through school? Who do you come home to at night? Who is coming home to them at night? Who went to work and almost killed themselves that day, another day, with never ceasing ending days in sight and having to do it forever? Who would relegate themselves to that position? Who gave up their authority? Who gave up their freedom? Who gave up their time, their attention, their everything, their worthiness for a group that doesn't recognize their worth? You know what I mean? And gaslights and puts them down and uses and abuses them and steals their energy. But there was one more thing I wanted to point out. What was it? Drawing a blank. But yeah, man, that's so sad. That makes me so sad seeing that. And the parking lot's full, guys. I mean, full. Look at all the brand new fucking cars sitting in that parking lot. And this is Front Royal. I mean, this isn't the city. You go up in the city, that's going to be Beamers and Mercedes sitting in that parking lot. But, you know, down in the country for country folk, those are all brand new $40,000, $50,000 cars sitting down there, $60,000 cars. You know? And that place was been packed. It was packed all day yesterday, people coming in and out of there. And, you know, it's mostly older people and women. And they're fat, and you can see them hobbling. I have bad eyesight. I can't see far away. But, you know, I can make out if someone's a man or a woman, and I can see if they're walking straight or if they're hurting or if they got problems. And it's amazing. I mean, it'll blow your mind, the amount of fat, out of shape people that are just hobbling in there to go put their makeup on to feel better about themselves and treating symptoms instead of the root causes of shit. Miserable inside. And if their man didn't work, if their man wasn't busting ass on the roof fucking killing themselves so that way they could provide for their fucking women, for that wet hole they come home to, then that woman wouldn't even be able to walk up in that motherfucker and get pretty and get that fucking ego boost to be able to function that day, that week. You know what I mean? And it's just so fucking sad, man. I mean, we've really relegated, as soon as a baby's born, it's either male or female, and these are the two positions it's going to take. You know? And it's just extremely sad. It's extremely sad that we are just breeding billions and billions of souls into this world and nobody's willing. Everybody just wants to go off, you know, even when they realize how fucked up things are, people still want to hold on to the foundation and build on that foundation that was intentionally set for this fucked up manipulation of the truth that we're living in anyways. It's like, no, you can't have it. You can't play both teams. You can't have it all. You can't do that. They're like a magnet. One's positive, one's negative, and they don't attract. They repel each other. It's oil and water. One's going to sit on top of the other. They're not going to intermingle. They can't. They're not birds of a feather. They have nothing. There's nothing in common, you know. And for that to become realized to each individual, you have to do this work of releasing and letting this world go, and letting this physical reality, this physical illusion go, and really just work on that and until you despise almost this physical reality because of what you see it is and all that you see it being used for. But anyways, just real short, just wanted to throw that out there. Very sad.